Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start with the end of Mr. NoHeart. And I'm going to start with the end because as I share different stories throughout the relationship, I already told the oil change relationship, but near the end, I kept thinking about the oil change and when he forgot to pay his light bill and heat when his vehicle got repossessed. Like a lot of things just start coming together about the only thing he loved about me was how is another way? How can I be able to use her even more? So here we go. Well, I was teaching, my legs were getting worse, and my mom was fighting cancer. And my ex knew this. And okay, I'm going to say the whole story of this a different day, but this really kind of intersects with the ending. There would be weekends where I am cleaning around the house and I'm working 2 or 3 jobs. So I'm trying to get my stuff together so that next week can go smoothly, that I'm prepared and ready. And he would text me and sometimes even call me if he was determined to belittle me. Why is it taking you so long? Why aren't you here yet? So then I would reply, I am cleaning up around the house. I am trying to see or make sure everything that I can do is being done before I leave. He didn't like that. And that's a huge red flag. That just shows how selfish and awful and inhumane he is. Because when his vehicle broke down, he needed my help. When he had to get another vehicle, he needed my help because his credit score was dreadful, awful, terrible. When he forgot to pay the light and heat, yeah, he needed my help. Repossession, going up north to go camping with his family, and so many other smaller situations. But the large ones really hit home because whenever I had a small or even like an almost middle situation, was he there? No. And so I'm teaching and working my 3 jobs. My legs are hurting so badly. I need a cane and I'm feeling worse. And I'm telling him I won't be able to drive over to your house anymore. I can't do this anymore. Like I am in so much pain. He was like, don't worry, we'll figure it out. It'll be okay. I'm like, it'll be okay. Like, what are you talking? Like, you refuse to come over to my house. And that's another thing. Both Mr. NoHeart and Mr. Lockakey, they lie to their family or his now wife. And they're like, oh, she never invited me. Boys, don't lie. Don't lie. Mr. NoHeart, I invited several times. Thanksgivings, Christmas, Easter, Super Bowl Sundays, probably a couple other occasions. But he always refused. But then whenever he wanted me to go up to his family, his mostly racist family, they're absolutely awful racist bigots who, yeah. If you've been listening to the episodes, you already know. But when I would say no, I don't want to go, he would then like gaslight me or try to make it as though I am a terrible person. But and that's about a 3 hour drive up north. 3 hours. But to drive to my parents' house, less than an hour. But he would say that's too far. I had like My family lives too far. I live too far. He always said that. But then he wanted me to always drive to him, always. And part of me was just like, why am I always driving to your house? And then I try to invite you because we dated for 7 years. 7. And he kept saying, you don't mention me to your parents. No, because you don't want to come over their house. If you don't think our relationship is worth you having the decency to come over to the house, I am not mentioning your name at all. And if you tell me that I'm too old to have kids, if you tell me that you want to break up with me, if I adopt or foster, no, I'm not going to brag about you. What's there to brag about? When you call your own daughter's mistakes, you call your daughter's mistakes, but then you tell me I am not allowed to have children, even though my children would not be mistakes. Yeah. So, okay. So, my mom passes away, and well, that night before she passed away at the hospital, I call him because I need him and I'm getting emotional and I need someone to talk to. And there's family there, but most of them don't like me. But, or, I mean, it's kind of like the gray sheep society type of don't like me. It's like they don't. I'll talk about it on the gray sheep episode, but to me, sometimes it's crazy how family members see you, but then they don't see you. They only see you through gossip. They only see you through the gaslit lenses that your parents put onto them. So then they automatically think certain things, even though they're not true, even though it's like they only say the parts that are the bad parts, and the bad parts even aren't even bad parts, but to them they will make them bad. So I needed space away from them, and I called my ex, and I thought I could be able to talk to him, but he was too busy playing video games. Too busy. He had to play his video games, and he let me go. He told me he had to get back to his video games while I'm in the hospital, like waiting for that time. So then fast forward, it's time to make the funeral arrangements, and I ask him to come, and he refuses. And I literally begged him, crying, begging him, because I tell him, I need you. I need you to come with me. It's like we've dated for how many years, and it's like you keep saying you want me to mention you to my parents, but then you don't. Like, you keep saying and doing awful things, but it was like I just needed support. I needed a friend, my boyfriend, but there's some times where I'm like, he wasn't even a boyfriend at that time. Because if you can't even come with me, if you can't support me, if you can't have empathy, then you're not a boyfriend. That is like, so he didn't go. And watching my perfect sister have a whole crew of her friends from different parts of her life come, it hurt so much because I told a few of the promotional models that I worked with, and that's kind of when it dawned on me, like a lot of them, they only liked me or they only wanted to hang out with me because I, like, companies want, like, they knew I was responsible and they knew I had a safe driving record. So when they had to have rental cars to go to out of state and to some of the like better promo deals, they called me and they wanted to be a part of those teams. So then they would want to ride in my rental vehicle. So then they would be my friend. Yeah, learned that the hard way. But yeah, so no one No one came other than parts of me wonders if it was because my job wanted to make sure I wasn't lying. But one of the head people at the inner city school came to the funeral. But she had to leave right after. So that's one reason why I think she just tried to take attendance. She just tried to make sure that I wasn't lying. And yeah, ta-da! No, my mom's casket's right there. Yeah, good job. If that's the only reason you came. But that's just my thoughts. And so, okay, after the funeral, we're gonna fast forward a year because in between that time, I started teaching at the college level, and his family, they're all like, oh, you only got that because you're black. Oh, you only got that. It's like, you don't deserve that. It's like, how did you get that job over other people? And I'm like, because I have 3 degrees and I busted my tush off and I studied and I have like over 12 years of experience within my degree. What are you talking about? And it's like, I think they're just mad that a black woman's able to get to a point where, especially with their quote unquote white privileged selves, they thought that they're owed this, they're obligated to have this just because of the color of their skin. And it's frustrating and annoying because I worked hard for what I got, for the different amazing things that I have been able to get. And I've been denied so many times. I've already told you about some of the job interviews and some of the things I've been through. And because, yeah, some jobs, they don't want DEI, they don't want black people or people of color or women or people with disabilities. Hello, I'm 3 of those. So I like, to most companies, I'm at the bottom of the bottom of the bottom. So I not only do I have to have more education than all of them, more experience than all of them, be able to compose myself better than all of them, I have to go over and beyond in every single area just to even be on an even platform, especially when it comes to white men. And my white male ex boyfriend hated that I was able to get that position. He hated that I worked myself so hard to be able to get to that level. And so he never congratulated me. I still remember the night I think he was just finishing video games or whatever, but his oldest daughter was in the room, and he had like, I'm like preparing for my first class. So I'm on the computer typing whatever. He looked at me and he was like, anybody can do that job. His oldest daughter, I still will never remember that night. She doesn't like me anymore because I broke up with him, but she looked right at him and she's like, you can never do that job. Ooh, that's a burn. That's a good burn too. There's a few times where she came with it, and I'm like, I'm proud of you. Okay, okay. So, okay, fast forward some more. I start teaching the college, and my walking's getting worse and worse, but I keep going. It's like, I'm trying to figure out, okay, what are some other things I can do work wise, because the inner city school, let's I got, oh my gosh, I have so many stories on that one, but I still remember my last time going to my ex's house. I drove to back home, get into the driveway. I get out and I could not walk. I had to hold on to dear life in order to get to the front door or to the door through the garage or whatever. And then for about 2.5 months, I was crawling. This is right around the holidays. I remember I invited my ex over, and yeah, he refused to come, but he owed me money. And I asked him for my blanket. While I was working on grad school, I have a temperature disorder, so I get cold easily. So I remember, like, I saw at Kmart these blankets on sale, and it was a Monster High one. It's so cute, but I got it, and with my ex, he would always like take the blanket, take him away during the night while he was sleeping, and there was a few times I would try to grab him back and he would hit me in his sleep. And so to solve the problem, I brought my blanket from my house to his so that I could stay warm. This is another reason I realized how selfish, awful, terrible, and just disgusting he is, because since he owed me money because his truck broke down and he had terrible credit, so he didn't have enough money for the down payment for his new vehicle, so he needed me to loan him money. So when he was going to bring the money, I asked him, "Can you please bring my blanket? I really need it." He told me, "Once you get fixed and you're able to drive again, you'll be able to have your blanket back. You'll drive over to my house again and you'll be able to use your blanket." I'm like, "Yes, but I need my blanket at home. I need my blanket here." It's like, I don't want to, like, instead of using my bed comforter, I want to be able to use my blanket, especially when I'm typing my novel on the computer and stuff like that. But he kept gaslighting me, kind of blaming me or telling me that once I'm fixed, then I'll be able to get to his house. And like, he doesn't know, like, the more and more he would say stuff like that, and the more and more he was showing how selfish he was, I was like, it's going to be over soon. It's going to be like, and yeah, this is going to be a 2 or 3 part series. So, anyway, so he wouldn't give me my blanket, but he came by the house and dropped off the money he owed me. But guess what he was going to do with the money he owed me? Because, like I said, he likes trying to look like, oh no, I think I delete, like, okay, this is how Mr. NoHeart is. He likes to be seen as such an amazing man. But if you take a peek behind the curtain, you see reality. You see how he really is. You see who he really is. And it's not good. It's not great at all. Because he was going to use the money he owed me, and he would, without telling me, he was going to buy me a laptop. And speaking of health insurance and Luigi and everything like that, like, I had to go through a lot of medical tests and I had to pay a lot of money. And I like my credit score. I love my credit score. I want to keep my credit score where it is. And actually, I'm trying to get it higher, but I wanted to pay off all my tests as soon as possible. But I called him and I was like, "When are you going to pay me back my money?" And he was just like, "Oh, well, I'm going to use that money to buy you a laptop." Excuse me? Yeah, I went on this certain store's website, and yeah, it's like, "I know you need one anyway." Okay, I will get the laptop when I need the laptop. That is not your place. How dare you? And so then he starts blaming me for being upset, and I'm like, every other Christmas, you have only bought me a stuffed animal. So I'm only worth a stuffed animal to you, other than when you can use my money, which is never. If I never gave you permission, if you have the audacity to borrow money from me, but then instead of paying me back, you're literally going to use my money so that now you can go up north, go to your bigoted, racist, no good mother, in my opinion, and other bigoted family members, in my opinion, and tell them, guess what? I bought her. I got her a brand new laptop. Even though it was with my, like, he wasn't going to tell them it was with my money. He was just going to tell them what he bought me without telling them it was with my money. So, anyway, so right around that time, I remember I had the doctor's appointment to talk to my surgeon so that they can, like, because I've been to so many doctor's appointments, they finally realized, oh, you need surgery and you need surgery ASAP. So I remember calling my ex, and each time he acted like he did not care. And during the holidays, yeah, I forgot that part, he refused to call me. It's like sometimes I feel like he only thinks women are receptionists, maids, and mothers because I would ask him, okay, other than when you need me, other than when you want my money, other than when you like want me of service to you, can you call me just to call me? And especially during the holidays, can you call me? But no. But then he went and told his family members, "Oh, she's busy today. She's too busy, or she doesn't want me to call her during the holidays." That's how he got. Yeah. Oh, he was such a terrible, awful human being. But okay. So after the appointment about setting up everything for the surgery, I call him, and he talks with, or I, well, he talks to me a little bit, and he asked me how my day was, and I tell him about the appointment. But then he was like, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be playing this game again. Okay, yeah, well, yeah, good job. Like, yeah, as soon as they get your legs straight, you'll be driving back over here, right?" That was his response. And then after that, he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, I'm playing this game. I gotta let you go." Okay, yeah, oh yeah, I'll let you go. He didn't know I was so getting close to breaking up with him. And so, okay. It's getting closer and closer to the surgery. And over the phone and through text, I ask him, can you text me and call me the day of my surgery? Well, first I asked, can you come to the hospital the day of my surgery? Well, no, I can't. You know, the girls, you don't have the girls that week. I know this. You don't have them that week. So what's stopping you now? Oh, well, the weather, Now you want to blame the weather? All of the winter weekends and the horrible, like, you called me and gaslit me on I must not love you, or I must not like care about you, or just so many different ways where if the weather was kind of testy or it might be kind of bad, he would blame me or say I must not care about him enough to make me like get there. Like, there were times where while I'm driving, I am horrified and scared, but then I'm like, okay, but if I don't, he's gonna say that I don't care about him. Yeah, I was like, well, I was scared. When you're dating with a disability and everyone's telling you that you're worthless and that you'll never find love as long as you walk like that, yeah, I was dating with the low self-esteem purpose. Yeah. So, yeah, so he refused. And so I asked him, can you text me and call me? He refused. And I'm like, literally, it's like, can't I even get a call from you? You don't come to my mother's funeral, and now you're not going to come to my surgery. He didn't care. And so I have the surgery, and the one thing he did, and I don't know why I was happy. I guess I was happy that he at least did the bare minimum. Was he sent me some gifts of puppies because he knows I love dogs. He knows I love puppies, and he knows I asked him. I was like, if you can do anything, can you at least do that? You're not gonna call me. You're not gonna text me. Can you do something? Something? And so I get home. I was only there overnight, but then I need to start scheduling physical therapy. And then, well, over the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, they find out, oh, something might still be wrong with you. Why didn't that surgery work? You're one of the most complicated, procedures I've ever had in my career, said my surgeon. Said my surgeon. And I would keep calling him, throughout those 3 weeks. And I would even tell him the doctors think there's something else. And now I need to go through more tests, and video games were more important. Everything but me was important. And so I I just remember, even the the week before my surgery, the three friends that did call me, two of them live out of the state, so that's one reason they didn't come to the hospital. And my other friend, they were there for me. They called and they told me, it's like, girl, with everything you've been through in life, with everything, it's like, you're gonna get through this, no problem. They were the ones that helped me. And when my female close friend, she was like, how is Mr. NoHeart doing? And I would tell her everything, and she's just like, you need to break up with him. I'm like, yeah, I'm in the process, yeah. And so he has no idea. And I mean, he has no idea how much I think he loved hurting me. And that's the thing, a lot of men enjoy, they only get into relationships with women so they can hurt that woman. They don't care about her. They just want to see, how much can I hurt her? Because to some, hurting means power. Hurting means I am taking over, and or dehumanizing or whatever. And after the 7 years with him, that's all it was. Because fast forward, when he realized I wanted nothing else to do with him, we were over. He's like, only over A, B, and C? You want to break up? You're making a whole big deal when, what did I do wrong? And it's just, I'm going to look for the text messages too, because at one point I remember I screenshotted some of his last text messages, and his ignorance, stupidity, and just, well, kind of gaslighting, because he always wanted to turn it on me, especially when I was breaking up with him. He was trying to blame me on our breakup. But I'm going to tell the rest of that tale in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human. You're human too. But yeah, just know, those 7 years, I have over a list of 40 reasons why I broke up with him. So in the messages, if you want to write a reason on why you broke up with an ex, or a reason why you plan on breaking up with someone you're dating, or even a reason why someone else broke up with you, I think that can at least start some interesting conversation. And or maybe some kind of computer equipment, since, or a blanket, because my ex decided to try to trap me in a relationship over a blanket, and or use my money in order to let him shine, because oh yeah, I need to, yeah, the end of the relationship. I'm going the novel.